Like a good neighbor, Vinzer is here.
I'm a great neighbor. I mowed the lawn today. I'm Captain Vinzer Flynn, and you're listening to Shitfaced in Hyperspace.
Trailer for Birds of Prey.
Yeah, I saw that a little while ago myself.
I mean, Ewan McGregor's the bad guy, so that's a plus.
Oh, well, what's he playing? Black Mask?
Yep, Black Mask, but I don't think they show it in the trailer.
Oh, it'd probably be one of those things where you see it at the very end, he puts it on, he'll be all scarred or something.
He's a good actor to play Black Mask.
You ever watch Fargo with him in it in one season?
Nope.
Brilliant show. Each season's different. Some crazy fucking shit in Minnesota that's somewhat based on real crime stuff in it, but he's in one season and actually plays twin brothers, and he's fucking great in it.
I do like it when actors get to play two characters in the same show. I like seeing them play off each other.
And these guys are very different characters too. Like one's a successful businessman, and the other guy's, we're driving the same shitty car from high school and always down on his luck. So they're very different characters.
And now we have a Juice.
Hello.
What's up?
Just got home. And I discovered you find the most interesting thing in the oddest places.
That's usually how it goes. What'd you find?
So I was in Enfield, and I decided to eat at the Big Stop there because I haven't done it in God knows how long. And I was walking, and I was walking out. They have a display of model cars and stuff for kids, and on the shelf were 3 different versions of the Batmobile.
Oh, cool.
Which I picked up.
Neat.
So I now have more stuff I can display, and they're actually really damn good models. I was really impressed at the detail.
Which versions?
So there's the Justice League movie one, the Tumbler, and there was a third one there which I didn't quite recognize, but it damn well sure looked like a Batmobile to me.
I've always been very partial to the 1989 movie Batmobile.
Yeah.
The one with the fins?
Yeah, but the fins on that are understated. It's not like crazy like Batman Forever.
Yeah, that was just a little extra, as the kids like to say.
There's basically, you either like campy Batman movies or you like dark, realistic Batman movies.
But I like both.
I agree with Juice.
Each of them have their own. Each of them have their own faults, but they also have their own. What's the word I'm looking for?
Charms.
Yes, charm. That works. I like that.
I could forgive the Batman Forever car. It was the 90s. Things were a little weird.
Yeah. Well, Batman Forever, it was okay. But
do you remember though, like when Batman Forever came out in like 96 or whatever, and it was super fucking exciting because like that's what we had at the time, right? Like at the time it was amazing.
Yeah, I mean that was Schwarzenegger, right?
No, that was Batman and Robin. After that, Batman Forever was the Riddler and Two-Face.
Oh, right, the Riddler, Two-Face, and yes, that I'm forgetting the actor that played Batman, but I see him in my face and know who you're talking about. And Chris O'Donnell, yes, I remember that.
Forever was Val Kilmer, and George Clooney was after that. George Clooney has apologized for that movie.
I don't blame him.
So just before you came in, we were talking about the new Birds of Prey trailer.
Oh, I haven't seen it yet.
Harley sounds more like Harley now.
Oh, I totally agree, but it doesn't highlight the other Birds of Prey at all. Like, you see like a quick, that's Huntress, and then I legit have no idea who anybody else is.
The singer's Black Canary.
Oh, that makes sense because there's the.
So in this Bird of Prey movie that they're going to be doing in 2020, is Harley on the light side or dark side?
Well, she's part of the trailer today is talking about how she split up with the Joker and kind of going her own way, and Ewan McGregor's in it, I guess, as Black Mask as the villain. So the premise is that a bunch of people are trying to kill them, so the girls band together.
Cool. I'll have to take a look at that then after the cast here.
I mean, don't get me wrong, it doesn't look like a bad movie at all. I think, I don't know, I guess after Sony superhero movies, maybe we're just getting harder to impress.
Well, DC and Warner's really trying to build the same type of franchise that Disney and Marvel have been doing there. They've gotten some. There have definitely been some hits. There have definitely been some misses. So it almost feels like they're trying to throw mud at the wall and see what sticks.
I think one of the problems is the fact that Marvel didn't own any of its A-listers, so they had to make do what they had left with the B-listers and the C-listers, right? DC and Warner Brothers, by extension, still owns the rights to Batman, still owns the rights to Superman, etc., but can't seem to find any success with them because they've kind of been done to death at this point. So they only seem to be successful on the properties that they've never made movies for, like Wonder Woman or Aquaman. And of course, we'll skip over the fact that Green Lantern is a thing that exists.
Oh, and I so like Ryan Reynolds. I feel bad for the guy that he did that movie.
Sometimes, it's just not their fault. Raptor and I were talking about this the other night, how when they put out the new promotional image of Brandon Routh as Kingdom Come Superman, which looks great, I said, I really liked him as Superman, and Raptor said he did too. It's just, it wasn't his fault. The script was bad,
Yeah, sometimes it gets chalked up to bad writing.
Yeah, I don't know what it is, but Disney and Marvel seem to attract good writers. I mean, the storylines they make sense. They have drama. They have comedy where it's appropriate. They just do a really good job.
All of their stories are too big. Like, it's always world-ending this or world-ending that.
But the thing was, though, with DC, with the superheroes that they have, they are really overpowering. So in order for them to have a storyline that people will actually care about, you got to be end of the world, because end of the world villains seem to be the only ones that actually can have any chance of actually doing damage.
I'm hoping that, I don't know what the state of it is right now, but the Batman movie kind of brings things back down to earth a little, because I've heard rumors that it's supposed to be like a good detective movie, which I am all for. I would love to see things kind of brought back down from, like, say, the world-shattering events.
Yeah, I agree.
I will give it this, though. Whoever Warner got for the DC animated universe, that they should be writing movies, because that whole series of cartoon series and such were absolutely amazing.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I've enjoyed every DC animated movie. The other thing, too, is they also get the same recurring voice cast, so that lends a bit to the continuity.
For me, for DC animated movies, everything is good about them to me, except the actual animation and artwork. And I think it was, blanking on his name. A great DC artist was doing Batman the last couple of years. He said the same thing I did. He says they got to up their game with the animation, because it just looks, it's a certain style, I know, but it's kind of flat and boring, and it's not doing it for me.
Well, it was designed for kids originally, but then the storyline started getting more adult and started to attract that audience as well. So,
Jason Fabok, the guy that does Batman really good, that's his name.
but yeah, and then as opposed to Marvel, who have tried doing animated series and such and have, I don't know, fell a little flat.
They're garbage. They're so bad.
They are, and that's sad too. So if you put the Marvel animation with the DC DCAU writers, you'd probably have friggin' amazing series of shows that would probably make just as much money as the Marvel movies have been making now.
So speaking of the Batman movie, I saw the other day that Jeffrey Wright, who played Bernard from Westworld, is cast as Commissioner Gordon, and I think that is some damn good casting.
I will take your word for it because I have not seen Westworld yet.
Huh. They're actually putting him as Commissioner Gordon. That's going to be interesting.
Yeah, I think he's great. I first saw him, he first came to my attention in Casino Royale as Felix Leiter, and I've liked him ever since.
Oh yeah, he plays an amazing Leiter in the more recent James Bond films.
I heard that film, No Time to Die, I think, the new Bond film, just finished filming too. And someone on Reddit the other day, and I think it's hilarious, and I completely agree with it. It says, I want the next Bond film to be Bond getting a mission, and then he just goes to fucking do it.
Yeah, they apparently just concluded production in September, so there'll be post-production. But apparently, I guess this is also supposed to be Daniel Craig's final foray as James Bond.
Well, yeah, I hear one of the plot points is that it's a new 007, right?
Oh, so you see, and there's a thing I've always wondered about: is their name actually James Bond, or does MI6 just give that name to 007 as a code name throughout the years?
We may be seeing a precedent set on that with the new movie. My headcanon is that it's just the number gets passed on, and you might have your own name, but there's always been differences in his history and backstory and stuff. I have a feeling that maybe MI6 supplies you with multiple choice backgrounds.
Which definitely could make sense too. I mean, I kind of figured the 007 moniker has been passed down from person to person. That makes total sense. But the actual name James Bond, is that always attached to the 007 code name?
I have a feeling that is a question the movie is going to answer because it's been asked for 50 years.
And no one will be happy with it.
No, either way.
Well, if no one is happy with it, then it's probably the right choice, because I suspect no matter what they try, how do they explain it, someone is going to be not happy with it. So if no one's happy with it, then there you go.
Speaking of things people don't like, I read today that Rose Tico gets a promotion to commander in the year gap between Jedi and Skywalker. And man, people were not happy about it.
Oh, the internet neckbeards are in a tizzy again?
Yes.
Fuck
Such
'em.
a tizzy. I agree.
Well, you know what? Considering what happened in Last Jedi, it kind of makes sense. I mean, you're now the resistance is now down to a dozen people, if that. So they're probably really hard up for leadership. So it doesn't surprise me at all that happened.
Hey, you there sweeping the floor. You're a major now. Okay.
What's a major?
Don't worry, you'll be dead before you figure it out.
I think it's going to be like they fled, hurrah, hurrah, a year's gone by. Leia has scrounged up a bunch of other allies and dragged a bunch more X-Wings and Y-Wings off of junk planets and yada, 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 yada.
And in the meantime, apparently the First Order has found basically a fleet of Star Destroyers that we didn't know existed until now.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how that gets brought in.
Someone raised a very interesting reference to the first episode 4, Han Solo's line when they realized Alderaan had been destroyed. And he says, that would take 1,000 ships. That's more firepower than I've ever seen. And then, well, there's no Death Star, no Star Killer base. Here's your 1,000 ships. Who's next?
Yep. Just glass the planet from orbit.
It's the only way.
Well, speaking of Star Wars movies, I hear Kevin What's His Face from MCU is supposed to be making one.
Feige?
I will watch whatever Kevin Feige makes. I'm pretty sure.
Yep, I am totally down for it, and I hope it happens. But this feels like the third or fourth time somebody's been said, "All right, this guy's making a Star Wars movie." It's like, all right, put up or shut up.
I've heard like there's like three different people or teams of people have been tasked to create a new Star Wars trilogy. So who knows what's going to happen? Yeah, I heard Rian Johnson had been tasked to do was rumored that he was making a new trilogy, and I also heard the Game of Thrones creators were also asked to do a trilogy as well. I don't know if anything's come, if they're still doing it or not. I mean, rumors are rumors, but I think considering the fact Disney will probably want to promote Disney Plus anyway, we're probably just going to see some series for the next while after Rise of Skywalker is done, and they'll see how the fans react to that, and then maybe start doing another trilogy down the road.
I'm hoping we get to see some more post Jedi timeline stuff after the Mandalorian gets going, because there's untapped potential there. I mean, they could even return to Ahsoka and Ezra Bridger stuff.
Yeah, the new Thrawn book that just came out a couple months ago takes place after Rebels, so I haven't picked it up yet. I'm very interested to see what they write. But so I think, other than the fact that flipping 30 years into the future timeline-wise made sense, so that Carrie, Mark, and Harrison would all be like appropriately old. I feel like they did it for the same reason that excellent. That's 30 years of stuff we can drop in and write movies and shows and comics about.
For sure, and everything's canon now. Even I mean, I guess it's kind of a bit iffy, but even the Marvel comics are canon now. Like everything they make is canon. Started to keep up on the Marvel Star Wars comics when they started using these weird photorealistic faces kind of mapped over the artwork. It was fucking weird. I didn't like it. So they gave us a couple more Mandalorian tidbits. Not much, but cockpit shot of the Razor Crest.
Is that what they're calling the ship? Okay.
Yeah. And a new official poster, which has the Cara Dune character on the front with the Mandalorian and IG-11. I'm curious to learn more about this Cara Dune character, because I think I can't remember who I mentioned it to the other night, but she's like a former rebellion shock trooper. So I'm wondering about all these people who are just basically in the rebellion for the fight, and now that maybe it's a relative time of peace. The Empire's been defeated. New Republic's trying to get set back up. These guys that aren't in it for the peace. So what are they doing now? Turning to mercenary work, bounty hunting, that kind of shit.
The only thing that I've seen people complain about this show is the fact that why didn't they just make this Boba Fett and IG-88? Why make similar characters, but not just go for the primary air quotes one?
If they'd done that, you know what they would have said? Same thing about the first two new movies. This is the same. We hate it. We want something different. Oh, this is different. We want the same. We hate it.
Pretty much.
People are going to complain about something no matter what. So let's just see how they do this and go from there.
I also saw a hilarious picture of, what's her name? Gina Carano and Pedro Pascal playing with their action figures.
You gotta wonder how you would, just a little off topic. I wonder how you would feel being one of these actors and suddenly seeing your I think they actually talked about it, some of the main actors in Star Wars, but seeing your likeness as an action figure hanging on a shelf in a toy shop.
It's got to be a little surreal.
Just
Probably,
a little bit.
yeah.
And then you look at your face and you say, that's not right. Why did they put my nose that way?
Anytime Mark Hamill sees a derpy version of one of his, he posts it.
I had a chance to finally finish up Dark Crystal Age of Resistance.
What'd you think?
Bloody awesome. I was very impressed with that whole series. A couple of things that stood out to me. Actually, the primary thing that stood out to me was Skex Hill, the Chamberlain. In the movie, I mean, he doesn't do a lot of talking, and I mean, he's a decent supporting character, but in Age of Resistance, I was just blown away by how conniving and devious this guy actually is. I mean, you see him whimpering and such a lot, but underneath that guy's, my God, that guy is like is red wedding level devious.
The thing I like about it, one of the many things I like about it, because I love this show, is that they took a great lore, an original idea from the 1982 movie, and they just blew it up and expanded it greatly, and it really comes through with the Chamberlain character and with all of them, like the scientist, and just like shows how he lost his eye and shit like that.
Yeah, no, they really did a fantastic job expanding the personalities of, I mean, the Skeksis, the Mystics, the Gulf, like all the characters. It was even Agra too. They really did a really good job on Agra. I was very impressed with her character on that series as well.
She was hilarious.
And just as sarcastic in the series as she was in the movie too.
Yeah.
So that was awesome.
I love the addition of they've expanded the story and lore out so much. The 7 Gelfling clans with distinctive, regions that they're from, and the things, differences in them, like the Dusan, like death worshippers, but not really. They were comfortable with death, and the Vaprin are like high elves, and the Grottons are like the underdark Gelflings. I just love that stuff.
Yep, and I liked how they explained the Gartham, how they were originally created and such. Thought that was kind of neat.
Very cool, and I didn't see that coming at all. That was great. And you gotta love Hup, the podling who would be a paladin.
Oh, I loved Hup. Hup was awesome.
I love the podling language. It was great.
Well, it kind of, actually, the way that Hup was talking, it kind of reminded me of how we in Canada have franglais, mixing like French and English. So mixing his language and English too was kind of funny to listen to him talk.
It was great. I have a feeling we're going to see more of him, because I feel like a season 2 is inevitable. And if you haven't seen it yet, also on Netflix is a special, The Making of the Show, and I watched it today, really worth watching.
I haven't had a chance to see it yet. After I finished the movie, the series, the movie's actually also on Netflix as well. I decided to go ahead and just rewatch it just to get up to speed. So I'll have to watch the making of here after that.
I did the exact same thing. As soon as I finished the series, I watched the movie, because I haven't really sat down and watched it in probably 20 years, right? So I had to kind of go back and see how they linked up, and they did a hell of a job.
Yeah, it actually does a very good. I mean, they did a very good job linking the movie with the series, and it made it very easy to go from the series to the movie.
One of the things they talk about in the making of is how everything has got weight and texture to it. It's all practical effects. There is some CG, but they marry it together very seamlessly, like putting blinks into the Gelfling's eyes or whatever. And the only time it's really overtly noticeable is when the hunter Skeksis is leaping through the trees and stuff. But it was done really, really well. Like every time CGI was there, it just sort of augmented the real, because the eye can always tell what's real and what's CGI, and this I felt was the perfect blend. And the hunter character was awesome.
Yeah, that guy was crazy scary. I was really impressed how distinct he was from the other Skeksis who just like lumber around and such, and then you see this guy jumping through the trees like Tarzan.
Yeah, he was so good. So did you check out the list of the voice cast for this show?
I'm looking through now, and my jaw is dropping.
There's a lot, isn't there?
I I can't believe Simon Pegg actually played the Chamberlain. He did his voice fucking perfectly. It was amazing. And then of course, I mean, if you really listen, within 5 minutes, you could probably tell that Mark Hamill was doing the scientist the way he was talking. I mean, it sounded like a more refined Joker.
Yeah, I was gonna say there was a lot of Joker in that voice, but yeah, once you realize it's Mark, you're like, yeah, I can really tell.
What I was actually surprised about was Andy Samberg voiced the heretic.
Yeah, I didn't know that one.
I never would have thought that that Samberg would be able to pull off that kind of voice.
And he killed it. That character was great.
He did. It was I love the heretic.
Couple of the others was Jason Isaacs was the Emperor from he was Lucius Malfoy. Benedict Wong was the Skeksis general. What was another one? Eddie Izzard was the Sifa chieftain who lost his memory.
That's awesome. Oh, geez. And Helena Bonham Carter actually played the original El Maldra.
Yeah.
Before she got killed.
It's a huge voice acting. The Sigourney Weaver was the opening narrator.
Yeah, I just saw that and I did not realize that. That's another surprise. But yeah, if they don't do a season 2, I will be extraordinarily surprised. I mean, the end of the series just was it was just aching for a season 2 because I mean now we kind of know what's going to happen between then and between the series and the movie, and but I'm curious as to how they're going to how they would portray the wiping out of the Gelfling and how will they actually bring up how if Jem is born and how he survived, and those various things you see in the movie that were alluded to in the past. The series would be a prime place to actually explain all that.
Just because from watching the movie, it's going to get dark. I mean, the planet gets turned into a wasteland, and the Gelflings are supposedly exterminated. My working theory right now is that Rianne and Deet are going to be Jen's parents. And I think we're going to lose a lot of Gelfling in the coming years in the story, but I have a theory that the Gelfling some of them are going to escape into the Underdark, courtesy of the Groton clan.
That would make sense. Either that, either Deet and Rianne are going to be Jen's parents, or Rianne and Deet are going to be Kira's parents.
Also, very good theory because of Kira's sort of animal-friendly powers.
Exactly. And then, I mean, also, there definitely some Skeksis were definitely lost. And I mean, by the time the movie is going, there's only going to be 10 of them left, and they started off with like what 15, 16 in the series
that we know about. Yeah, like we didn't even know about the Hunter character. So, and they do reference at one point he mentions 2 other Skek names, saying they would be good warriors to have that weren't there. So there's more out there, which I think might have been a little way to set up things for season 2.
Right, exactly. So more Skeksis are gonna bite the bullet. We're definitely gonna see more Gelfling killed. But then again, I mean, Thra is so huge. There are also a lot of other species there. We might see more some more species introduced, or the Mystics might start playing a bigger role than they did in season 1. I mean, there's a lot of material that could be put into a season 2 that would keep people going. Maybe even a season 3, depending.
They got a lot of room they can fill in if they want to.
Exactly.
And I hope they do, because I love this show. And that's it for us tonight, folks. Thanks for joining us on the Blackjack. You can follow us on Twitter and Facebook at Clan Flynn and support this podcast at patreon.com/VinzerFlynn. So we're moving into October now, which is our local con here in Halifax, HalCon. So a lot of us are going to be very busy preparing for that con crunch. So we may or may not return in October, but if we don't, we will definitely be back on a weekly basis in November as we start tackling all these new awesome shows coming out. So see you soon. Stay fresh, cheese bags.